And we are back. Happy New Year. This is a special edition of the scene. You see, we got a few more folks with us today because this is a collab. 94 feet of views, views from the 94, whatever you want to call it. Listen, you see everyone's Twitter handle on the screen. Make sure you're following everybody. We are going to talk the generals, point guards, quarterbacks, the differences, what separates the good from the great, all the traits. So we're going to get right into it. Quick introductions. J-Ham, Mo, Coach Les, MJ, our main man, Germ. Germ and MJ are going to kind of quarterback this thing, point guard this thing. So, fella, let's jump right into it, man. Point guards. What's the traits of the great ones, the modern, the past? Talk to us.
All right, so when we talk about point guards, man, first and foremost, we got to be able to start incorporating the fact that the game has evolved some to where maybe it's still the same things being asked of these point guards, but the geography, the style that has been done has been evolved, and it's a lot of fans that hasn't evolved with it. So, we got Germ, we got Mohead. They're going to be asking us tough questions so that we can be able to explain it. They're going to pretty much be asking us the questions that y'all should be asking us, but y'all got too much pride to do it. And vice versa, we're going to work with the quarterback. So the first 30 minutes, we're going to talk about this point guard position. I got to start it off with Coach Les Stewart, because when you talk point guards, this is like his specialty. This is, if it was a Brazilian steakhouse, he is the chef making the Brazilian steak when it comes to point guards. So Les, just tell us the definition of a point guard to you and what you look for, even when you're recruiting.
Selflessness, command. I think a great point guard has to be able to KYP, know your personnel. You got to know when, how, and where. You got to have know-how at that position, because you're the most important piece on the floor all the time on both ends. You're in front of the defense, so you got to let the backside, you got to let the backside know, and you got to hold guys accountable. You got to hold your backside accountable. You got to hold your wings accountable. You got to hold everybody accountable. You got to be a leader. You got to be willing to say, you know what? I know everything in the offense, and I know where I can score at in the offense, but it's not about me. It's about how I'm going to get the rest of these guys involved. I want it like somebody that has a true command in the sense of running the show, because as the cliche says, the point guard is an extension of the head coach. So you need to be the extension of your head coach. So, when they talk about guys who are point guards, this new age point guard, I want to know what the extension is of the coach. Like, what is that? Is the coach actually signing off on a guy taking threes at that position that shoots 10%? Is he signing off on that? Is that what he wants to reflect? And, to me, and I'll say this, about the point guard position in the NBA, I've only seen two that are left, and that's Rajon Rondo and Chris Paul. When I see point guard, and I'm not disrespecting those guys that are in that lead guard position now, because I think we got some phenomenal guards, but Rajon and Chris Paul are the last ones we'll see, and I don't know if we're going to see any coming up after this, just the way the game is played now at the point guard position.
Absolutely. J-Ham, jump in on this, because, you was an astute point guard when you played, and your pops, taught the game the right way. Chime in.
And Les started it with, know your personnel. That was like the first cardinal rule. Just knowing who's supposed to be where. You're the conductor. You're the MC. You're everything in regards to that leadership quality that you have to bring to it. Like let's say, you have to be selfless, but then you also definitely have to hold people accountable. But as this thing progressed, you really had to become a little bit more selfish in some regard. You had to because you had to know when to assert yourself to also bring the attention to you and get your team going, get you guys in the right spot, get run smart, everything of that nature. So it's a very like direct comparison with the quarterback. You're just probably working with less parts and have to know less stuff, but the intricacies that come within that, that can make the whole thing just like
Yeah.
it's I had more fun playing on the point than I did on the wing. But when I was on the wing, I was still operating as a point.
Yeah.
I knew how to attack it from any spot, so it was like, and then I'm still directing traffic even on the wing off of the ball. That was the beautiful part about it. And you still got that, you still commanding that, command, accountability, everything that come with it. You still have that at any spot. And so like what Les was just saying about Chris Paul being one of the last ones, well, over these last couple of years, we've been able to see Chris operate effectively off ball too, where we've always been accustomed to seeing him on ball, so the game itself, it evolves in that way. And it's more like Big Shot saying all the time, it's more than just coming down, one finger up, two fingers up, calling the play out, just passing it and going out to the side. Nah, it's a different attack mode now.
Yeah.
Speaking of Big Shot, chime in on this because you got a question, Mo?
No, I was just gonna say, like, at one point when Les was talking, I'm like, wait, is he talking about point guards or is he talking about quarterbacks?
Same thing.
Which is why we got this collab going, because y'all gonna notice this is pretty much we're talking about Pepsi or Coke.
Don't matter what the brand name is.
It's gonna get you the same way. So Big Shot, chime in on this. Just with your eye.
Just understands game management. Another quarterback term.
Mm-hmm.
Your point guard understands based on time, score, situation, this is what has to happen. Also, again, another quarterback term, anticipate. Throwing guys open. We always talk about there are very few wide open people in the NFL. In the NBA, there are very few people who are wide open. So your point guard has to be able to make guys open when they're not. And I'm sure later in this topic, we're going to talk about those type of players.
Oh, yeah.
But guys who can make guys open and when they say create shots for people, that's a very real thing. It's guys who can absolutely make things happen for somebody else to Lels's point about selflessness. So that's what I think.
Okay. All of these were just incredible. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen real quick. You guys see the X's and O's?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So as I share the screen, on the left, you're going to see a typical offense, and on the right, you're going to see a typical offense. On the left, this is how the offense looked about 30 years ago. You had a very tight motion.
Wow.
The reason why you were able to run this tight motion because the NBA had a rule in which if you did not double somebody or if you weren't to your man, it was called illegal defense.
Mm-hmm.
So any zone principle would have been called illegal defense in which you would have had to shoot a technical foul free throw shot. Go ahead.
Let me add that in also in that one that's on the left, when you have to stay within an arm's reach of your man. There's no sagging back, no sagging off into the paint, none of that. You had to stay within reach. So you're pretty much left on that island, one-on-one. So it actually was easier to read that way too, because you knew what was what.
I mean, look, we slowly changing everyone's narratives, right? MJ, you're going to have to repeat that one again because I think it might have went over some people's head.
All right. So once again, and I'm going to actually be moving some people around just to kind of give you an idea how offenses looked in the 80s. So usually it started off with the 2-guard and the 3-guy simultaneously switching, running around these big burly guys that are setting very physical picks in attempt to get your shooter the ball in this position.
Mm-hmm.
This was the money position right here because they was one dribble away off of a shot fake for getting to the basket off the move, or this is a clean look for them to shoot it. This was prime real estate. Here, and the dunker spot, which we're going to talk about later, is always prime real estate. So let's say he got the ball here. The good news is, let's say this dude D'd up to the point where he couldn't get his shot off. That's okay. This is a quick dribble out, and this is a post entry. So now, arm's length, like J Ham said, you got to be an arm's length away. This guy can go one-on-one, in which during this time, your 5 and your 4, all of these dudes back in the 80s were beasts. Even the dudes you didn't know the names of. All of them could shoot with their left hand, their right hand. They were physical. They had up and unders. They hit their free throws, and they were tough as nails. So we established him early as the point guard. We had to get the ball here early. So if we couldn't get it off the motion, let's say this was denied and this was denied. Point guard would just dribble over here. And we'll just go two-man game. I'm going to get this ball in the post by any means, in which a lot of times they played off positions like this a little bit, tried to play the passing lanes. But in the 80s, guys were so good at the point guard position at passing to your hand and throwing you open, like Big Shot Ron said. Even in the middle of the pass, it didn't matter. And if it was a double team, we just kick it back out, open up driving lanes to a driving kick or whatever. That was the offense. So I'm going to stop right there and just see if Les or Big Shot got anything to add in like Ham did.
One of the biggest differences between now and then, MJ talked about is he talked about that prime real estate. Your point guard played on the side of the floor a lot more often in the 80s and the 90s. So to MJ's point, if you dribbled over to make that entry pass, a lot of times offense started on the side. Right. One of the biggest changes in 2020 is as you look at that right side of the screen, your point guard in 2020 is at the top of the floor all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Very rarely.
Very rarely. When I started on that side though, Big Shot.
Yeah.
Because you running with the 24-second shot clock. So you got to get to your spot to get the ball to the spot that you want to get get your offense rolling. Watch how those 80s offense roll. It's not a whole lot of standing. It's boom, 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 boom. They hitting and they sticking and they moving.
Yep.
And this is where I'm going to tag Les in, because this is the horns, and Les is like the king of horns. So this is where I get to tag Les in as to how the offense has evolved. If you could automatically see, before I give this to Les, you notice it's a difference right here. Look at the paint here and look at the paint here. So automatically you're setting the difference up to where we are trying to create as much space to have our guys move in space to get here, be a dribble drive or whatever as possible. So let's go ahead and just talk about the horns.
With horns, with the, it's European style, European professional basketball is basically where I learned it from, just because, dealing with so many different coaches that, was able to be over there and coach. But the horns is, you got bigs now. When your 6'10" guy can step out and shoot, now you got guys, instead of opening, rolling, how the big man open up when they roll. Now they just rim running and you could just throw it up there. Now they just like, don't even worry about opening up, just rim run. Just set the screen and dart right to the middle of the basket, because they want to open up this paint. And I would tell you this right now. People say post play is dead and all this. It's not dead. Okay? Post play is not dead. They're just not throwing it down there. The post players are alive and well. And there's plenty of business getting done in the paint. And paint touches create so much. I wish I could have my little arrow, but paint touches create so much. So even if these guys try to trap him, so can you bring him over so they could trap the 5-man?
Okay.
Yeah, bring the two defenders. So now say could trap the 1. Even so, the 5-man is gonna still dart to that basket. Dart to the basket. We got the 2 lifting. From the corner. No, he's gonna lift the green. The offensive man, he's gonna lift up to the wing.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Lift up to the wing. So now he has this pass here, and we still got action. to see even if the 5-man on the trap, our offensive 5-man, he's just gonna sprint over to the block. So now he got it. Now our other man. So it's still Horns is still going to allow you to, however they guard the ball screen, like you can ice it, you can trap it, hard head, switch. Teams now you can play in drop coverage. That's why you see a lot of teams playing in the drop right now, and they play in that drop. And in the NBA, it's hard to play in that drop because of the defensive 3 seconds.
Yep.
But Horns ultimately gives you a paint look and a 3-point look. Those are the 2 looks. Like when I was running Horns, when I was a head coach, we ran Horns. I was looking for either we're gonna get our big man. That's our first. That's who it's 2-man game. It's the first time you pick up the ball and you go play. You and your homeboy go play some cat. Y'all gonna pick and roll. Y'all out there looking like Sydney and Billy.
And one of the biggest things you'll notice for people looking at us, if you just look at the left side of the floor and the right side of the floor, and just look at the simple space. The court is the same size on both sides. The courts ain't one court isn't small than the other.
Nope.
But look at the difference in the space between the left and the right. And this is kind of what's evolved the point guard, or as let's call it the lead guard position. The guy at the top of the floor has so much more room to operate now.
Absolutely.
Than he had to operate 30 years ago. Which to me, unless and MJ certainly chime in, why you have the more scorer at the top of the floor now. Because there's more space there's more places to go with the basketball now than it was then.
And we're going to stay with the theme of back then, because now that you guys have gotten to see the difference from an X and O standpoint, let's go ahead and put it in live practice by seeing the one point guard that I think we can all agree on is the point guard that you would teach your son or teach your point guard how to play. If it was the definition of point guard was in a book, this guy will probably be on it. That's John Stockton. So if you can notice here, went on ahead with full screen for you guys. If you can notice, everything that John Stockton has done has always been about getting his teammates involved every time. John Stockton probably was the purest point guard that haven't won. And I think the reason why he didn't win, because he refused to break the rules of a traditional point guard. You've never seen John Stockton on a 15-0 run by himself. He just can't do it. You've never seen him just say, I'm going to take over this game. If I got to shoot 30 times, that's what's going to happen. He wouldn't do it. And because he had these rules and regulations, he was probably one of the greatest point guards in history. But, when a team guarded him to where, okay, we're going to just take away your ability to pass as much as possible. It's like now he's still good enough to force a pass. As you can see, wasn't even no space in there. He got the ball there. But it's like, would it have been better if he probably would have been more aggressive on the offense? Neither here nor there. Could be yes, could be no. We don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and get this over to Ham as we have this video play a little bit longer. Ham, what is just certain things that sticks out? Does it look like the X and O's on here from what you're saying?
First of all, this you added one of my favorite games of John Stockton. Like, I actually remember watching this one as a kid, as a 7-year-old in 1988. And it was such a blueprint because it was just, like I was saying earlier, he's the conductor. He's the master of ceremonies for his squad. Everything that went offensively through, for Utah, it went through John Stockton. Smart decisions. He knew where everyone was. He got everyone involved. He was accountable. And then, 23 points, 24 assists.
Yep, that was the game.
That's a night. That's straight up a night. And he doing this against Magic, Michael Cooper, who was an elite defender, Byron Scott, who was a legit defender on ball in the month of May.
If you just see it. Yeah, there you go. I'm going in now. Sorry. What you say, Big Shot? You got anything?
No, I was saying, and if you look at John Stockton and his clips, or anybody watch John Stockton, he's understanding where everybody's at on. So you bring the ball down the break. I might run the break off to the side one time because I'm gonna set up my side screen and roll. I might run it straight down the floor, press the defense. I hand it back to Karl Malone. And that's just point guards understanding where, as Les talked about, where, when, and why. If you look at all of John Stockton, it's never incorrect. It's almost too perfect.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah. And we're gonna before we bring Coach Les on, Germ, Mo, any questions, anything stands out so far?
Yeah, so I got a question.
Sure.
So, and it's kind of ironic because we've been preaching both views in 94 before we even made the scene. This was 2016, 2015, about the game being positionless, both games, NFL and basketball. And I'm looking at that coach's thing you had up, MJ, which I got to see if there's one for football because sheesh, gave me goosebumps.
I'll send you the link. Send you the link.
So if you're looking at this, these guys are labeled by numbers, not by positions. And it's sort of in the NFL, go back to a conversation me and Vic had. We were trying to identify a play, and he said, and I said, well, he's the Y on this play. And Vic said, well, the Y is always the tight end. I said, not anymore. The Y is the Y. So what I'm asking is, are there plays now when they call plays in the NBA where it's like, okay, this guy is the 1, this guy is the 2, this guy is the 3, this guy is the 5, but it's not necessarily in the traditional point guard shoot.
Absolutely.
Have you watched the Golden State Warriors play?
Of course.
I was gonna bring them up later.
I mean, they're the blueprint.
Yeah, Draymond is initiating a lot of the offense.
Right.
You know, when I was watching the Nets the other day, KD was pushed that thing up there, you know, getting guys in position. It's whoever's initiating. And like I said, I've never coached in the NBA. I haven't.
Yeah.
But I've just only listened to people that have been there that have dealt with that level. It's basically a bunch of actions. It's a bunch of actions. So if you do this, I'm gonna do this. Or we gonna have great, you know, in the playbook, and that's why I said these guys are like, a lot of times it looks like guys are out there just hooping, but they're really not. They just that damn good. They're that good. That's why it's only 450 of them in the world.
Yeah.
They that damn. It looked like they just hooping. Now, if something breaks down, that's when it, you know, that's when it looks like the hooping. But I could tell you this now, they'll run an action. They don't get that first look. Now it turns into, all right, let me go get it to the $40 million man, and then we're going to get out the way. But they usually run an action, usually try to get something. If they don't get something off that, then it's like, oh, Kevin, show us why you're Kevin.
Right.
And Mo, that is the perfect segue to the next point guard I'm going to talk about, because like I said, from a traditional standpoint, an argument can be made that John Stockton, because he ran the position so perfect, that he missed out on championships by not going outside the box. Well, this guy did not stay within the box, especially once it got to 1989. Once he got a taste in 88, it got to 7 games, but they didn't win. This is his first game he played when they rematched the Lakers. And I'm sorry, I'm not really picking on the Lakers. I'm just trying to find games against the best talent so that you can see, you know what I'm saying, these guys play at the highest level. So we're going to go ahead and play another point guard and Zeke, in which you can understand off bat that this first game, he set the tone as if to say, fuck them rules. We about to win this game. And you're about to see it right off bat early on. So we know Isaiah is quote unquote a 1 right here. But once you see this first possession, he sets the tone off bat. Once they get the rebound, they got it. He pushes the ball. Now you got to think, this is 1989. That's a horrible shot in 1989. He does not care. He's not playing with y'all at all. He set the tone early. That first play pretty much set the tone for the whole series, in which Magic in game 2, for those who you guys don't know, end up pulling a hamstring.
Right.
Because he had to guard one of these guards, and they just pretty much ISO'd all the way. Look, Isaiah's coming off a screen. He is a one, but that's not what ones do. That's a wing. So automatically you're seeing him do different things despite his height. It's just a skill set. Good run on the double and the jump. He gets the ball again. He pushes again. What do I got? What do I got? Are y'all still playing with it? Okay. Okay. Y'all gonna keep playing with it, huh? No. I ain't running nothing. I'm not running anything. This dude got to hold me. He got to guard me. I'm not running no plays. There is no play. I'm the play.
And what's laughing about this is I mentioned this in the notes before the show. It's like this Pistons team right here, they won with 3 point guards, small point guards. They interchanged.
Vinny,
straight up, they all could score. They all counted the ball. They all could direct traffic. But Benny could do it. Like, let's say, shout out to Benny. Benny could do it, but Benny was about those buckets, baby. You know what I'm saying? That's what he was bringing. That's what he was coming in for. But Joe D and Isaiah were so interchangeable. And then the way that they did it on the other end defensively, they got after it, especially Joe D. Joe D was on Michael Magic and so on and so forth.
What's great about this clip is here we're talking about a guy who's a point guard, but this is talking about understanding, feel of the game. This is the first game of the series. I'm gonna establish the fact that we here.
Facts.
So instead of coming out and distributing the ball, I'm gonna come out and score. So I'm gonna come out real aggressive on offense and score and set the tempo, rather than come out here and say we got to establish Mark Aguirre or Buda Edwards. I'm gonna score early to establish the pace, establish the tempo that we're gonna go. So again, as MJ talked about, this is the transition now to your more lead guard. Yes, I'm not a selfish player.
No,
but I need to score early to establish what's gonna happen.
And that happens, and I'm glad you said that, Big Shot. That happens when your point guard is your best player, when he's your most talented player. Mm-hmm. He has this. Zeke was gonna set that tone regardless. He was setting that tone regardless if it was the Lakers, it was the finals. He was gonna come out and set that tone because they all looked at him as the leader. And that goes back to what I said originally about him having that command. Mm-hmm. He had that command to let them know, like, look, this is what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take you there. I'm gonna take you there, and then I'm gonna put you in the spots that need to be put. Let me get to, we got 100 miles to go. Well, let us get us to 80 miles, and then y'all can take care of the rest of the 20. And I'm just gonna guide. I'm gonna navigate. It's like going on a road trip. You go on a 10-hour road trip.
Right.
You got inexperienced drivers. Well, you know what? I'm gonna go and drive these 8 hours, but then I'm gonna let y'all finish out these next 2. The 3 of y'all can split up these next 2 hours. Let me make sure we get somewhere to cell phone coverage, just in case something happens.
That's real though. That's real. And it's so funny because the guy that I always thought was the closest to him in comparison was the guy in which the game has already evolved to it. It may not be some of your favorites, but this guy actually, has followed that blueprint to a T and is still in the NBA. One of the true point guards left, as Les is talk about, and this is going to be an earlier, about in 2011. The reason why I picked this year is because this was the last year traditional point guards won to me. After this, traditional point guards wasn't really winning. They just won. So as you can see here, RIP Kobe. But as you can see here, I'm in my bag. Once I get my matchup, I'm in my bag. So yeah, I am a true point guard. Yeah, I've already established everybody. I can get everybody. I don't get 15 assists if I ain't, putting work in. But what's not going to happen though is if you give me the match, I'm going to be the number one option now in that offense. And this was, like I said, the blueprint was Isaiah Thomas pretty much showing that since I have the speed advantage against Magic Johnson, and I know he can't stay in front of me, I'm going to make that matchup the matchup. What has graduated now is, the pick and roll that is happening now. Now the pick and roll is not to get the ball to the roll man necessarily, but it's to get the guard to switch on somebody slower. And this is what we're about to see right now after he hits his 3. he pretty much just isolated Bynum and dragged him for about a good 2 minutes. As we start here, good pick and roll pass. So now we're incorporating other rules with this. So I know you can't guard me. Come on out here. This is the new offense. Come on out here. You helping? That's cool. I give it to my shooter. So I've still got people involved, but the geography of the floor has changed. At first, we're trying to get the ball here and draw the double. Now I could draw the double just off having a mismatch.
Yeah.
Now you got to have help side with this, or I'm gonna cook him. You have to help. If you don't help, this is what's gonna happen to him. This is what if you don't help. So which one do you want? You gonna deal with that, or you gonna help out and deal with my shooters?
You know, it's funny because when you guys were talking about these, you know, new point guards and the spacing and everything, again, just to keep the you know, the whole views of 94 theme going, sort of what's been happening in the NFL once they made those rule changes. Well, now all of a sudden, you know, you can't bump a guy within his first 5 yards of running his route. So you could run these flood concepts. You could run 3 guys to the same side on different levels. You could do all these different combinations because for the most part, as long as your offensive line holds up, you know where they're going to be by the time you get to the end of your drop.
Yep. Anything y'all want to add before I move to the next one?
What's the next one? Who we got next?
So, like I said, I'm going into the order on purpose because I'm like painting the picture as how the position has evolved and elevated to something that we can't even define as the regular position anymore. So, as you can see, Chris Paul followed Isaiah Thomas's blueprint, but because the game has evolved, pretty much the game said, okay, Chris, you're going to have to score 60 on us. In order for you to win, you got to score 60 on us. This true point guard stuff is cute, but if you ain't going to score 60 on us, because that's what we're going to play you for, you're not going to win this game. And we're betting on the fact that you don't have enough energy or it's just not in you to go get 64 times out of 7. That's what we're betting on. Now, am I saying that's the reason why he hasn't got a title? Absolutely not. Because I wholeheartedly believe if he would have not got injured in that Houston series, we will be talking something different. Because he literally had that, he was doing this thing. It's debatable. We can go back and forth. Sure. But then this is when we enter into, you know, this guy who, what he does now is he's like the Patrick Mahomes of the NBA. Because what he has done is he has said, okay, I'm going to take my scoring ability, my shooting ability, and I'm going to play that around my ability to still make the right read in the pass. So because I'm so good at shooting, y'all gonna give me these really easy reads and I'm going to take them. So as we start this video, you're going to see off bat, and I'm going to play this slow because I want people to really catch it. I might even replay this first play because it don't look like much to the naked eye, but once I explain it, it's going to be very efficient as to what we're talking about. So he pushes the ball. Stop right here. He only took 2 dribbles. Look how much attention he got. Look how everybody funneling middle. Right. Because he might pull up from here.
He might.
he might pull up from here. So automatically the whole team is where? In the middle, where he's at. So now since they're in the middle, guess what? I make this pass, the middle is open. Because y'all still worried about him trailing. I'll let it watch. Look. So he gets the steal. Everybody's focused on him. Even as he running, there's still 2 or 3 people looking to see where he at trailing.
Hey, he put LeBron in a high-low situation for my football heads.
Absolutely. So it's like, even in numbers, he passed the ball, he got rid of it. It's still 2 people like, nah, I'm not leaving him. In a fast break.
Jeez.
Right. It was one that was like this in game 1 of 2017. And it's pretty much the same scenario, except KD was pushing it up the floor. And you had Clay on one wing and Steph was trailing off the other one. Bron just threw his hands up and just gave a dunk up. Like, why bother?
And this game, we are seeing the culmination of everything that we just discussed within the last point guards. We're gonna see we saw a little bit of the traditional with him giving the ball up early to a score. We're seeing him play off the ball now, but just watch how he plays off the ball. So he sets the screen, he sets another screen. You face guard me, I backdoor.
Ooh.
I know what you're trying to take away from me. Now you give me room, I do what I do best.
And what I liked about him in general is kind of going back to what you showed with Chris when Chris kept getting pulling Andrew Bynum out there. It's like how many times have you seen Ibaka get cooked from out there, Chef? By Steph. Plenty.
Plenty.
Look, you got Tristan Thompson on me. Tristan cannot guard me out there. He's not. I'm going to get my space. I'm not worried about him blocking my shot out there. He's not quick enough.
And this was the game where they was all on the Delly locking him up.
Yeah.
That was that. And he put 37 on these people.
Yeah. This is
Ended
the
up in the
exact same
hospital
game.
with an IV.
Exactly.
And every time we see this, we're looking at the basic horns too. Every time we see this, it's a big man out there with him that cannot stay in front of him fundamentally.
Not
and
the
this
first
is
time.
also the mean mug game when he came back down and hit him with the mean mug.
Yeah, so would we actually constitute Steph as a true point guard? We can't, because his skill set won't allow us to constitute him for that. But he still has to do the regular playmaking things and small things like this to keep his team motivated and lead a different way. The one thing that I can say is a lot of people will think because he's not running the traditional point guard that he is selfish, which will be furthest from the truth. Because if he was selfish, imagine Steph running the pick and roll for 35 to 40 minutes.
Yeah. Crazy.
Trae Young.
Crazy.
I mean, you see what Trae Young's doing. We've seen what James Harden numbers have looked like. Steph is doing this, and he's playing multiple different ways. Sometimes it's a pick and roll. Sometimes he's setting screens. Sometimes he don't even touch the ball. He just runs to the corner.
I mean, it's you talking about you're not going to call Curry a true point guard. I mean, you could call him whatever you want to call him. He is, you know what I mean? Because he's still elite at that position. And again, just to bring in the football into it, the one thing Mahomes has above I would say 98% of any quarterback that's come in the league over the last 10 years is he can do it from the pocket. And that's, I mean, he could do all these fancy things. You could run read option. You could run the RPOs. You could run any sort of offense you want to run with Mahomes under center. But at the end of the day, he can still stand back there and just snipe you to the death.
And this is the perfect segue to the football as far as talking about these QBs, unless y'all got something else to add.
Yeah, can I add something with Curry?
Sure.
And like I said, the lead guard, because I like calling the lead guard now as opposed to a point guard just because of what we grew up on. But if you notice in that finals, and then looking at the clips, Steph was able to be himself because of the other playmakers and decision makers out there with him. Andre Iguodala is one of the most versatile players that we've seen in this game. I mean, Iguodala was actually his high school team's point guard. He was actually high school team's point guard. You had Barbosa out there that primarily when he was with the Suns, he was, making a name for himself in his own right at the point guard, combo guard position. One thing that the person that I'm getting ready to say that probably was the most purest point guard on that team.
Draymond.
No. Sean Livingston.
Without question.
That's all Sean had ever been.
That's all he had ever done.
Sean's ability to know basketball, to know how to pass. That's a very important skill that people don't talk about. He knows how to pass the ball. Basketball IQ off the charts. I mean, like we forget about Sean. Sean was gonna be something else. Unfortunate circumstances. Sean was on his way. Sean is what we might end up. Who we thought Sean was gonna be is who we see in LaMelo Ball. We might see that. That's what we might see. So I would say, Steph, great lead guard, but when his success was also, and I love Steph, so this is not bashing Steph, but let's just
Oh, of course not.
take into account the people that was out there with him at times with the acumen and the IQ. That if you face guard Steph, you know what Steph's gonna do? Steph's gonna set a screen for Barbosa.
Yep.
Because as we learn when we first pick up a basketball, first team, whoever sets a screen wins is the open man. The screener usually becomes open. So when they was trying to face guard him, Steph was like, okay, I'm gonna set an off-ball screen. Let me go set an off-ball screen.
And as you're talking, I got Sean Livingston up right now just when he was with the Clippers, because I don't think people understood how fast he was, how shifty he was at 6'7", just can do a lot of different things. Just booming on folks right there. His passing ability was incredible. Handle, as you can see on the string, find you, get it back. I mean, but it goes back to, as what Lester says, it goes back to the fact that your general can only be as good as his soldiers.
Oh boy. I mean, you got certain quarterbacks though that can elevate the performance of the soldiers.
Yeah, and that's the better the general, the more they can elevate it.
And Chris Paul is a prime example of a general
And
that
you know
can
who
elevate
else?
his soldiers.
You know who
Phoenix
else?
is 5 hey, look, Phoenix is 5-1 right now.
Yeah.
You
And
know
I
who
even
else?
said when the move was made that he was going to get them to the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely.
To
And
the
you know who
playoffs.
else?
Now, they ain't guaranteeing nothing else, but Phoenix going to be in the top 8 in the West.
Yeah.
I tell you that right now.
Ironically, the Wizards are 0-5. Go ahead, Ed. Go ahead, Jay.
Who wasn't mentioned though that also had that type of flair? Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
My favorite.
The Nets won 26 the previous year. Then they won an additional 26, 52. They was in the finals.
Off the record, we always talk about this. I want y'all to look up that 1998 Phoenix Suns roster that Jason Kidd got to the playoffs.
Yeah.
If y'all want to have fun.
Yeah.
Jason Kidd will give you the opportunity to play in June.
Yeah, straight up.
He will give you the opportunity to play in June. Whether we got Jason Kidd at 21 or 41. If he got on the jersey or if he on the sideline, he in a jersey or suit, Jason Kidd will give you the opportunity to play in June. We know who plays in June.
The last time the Knicks were anything was when?
When they had
They played late into May. If I'm they played after Mother's Day.
They played after Mother's Day.
But just in conclusion,
you liable to see Jason Kidd on your TV screen during Memorial Day.
20s, 30s, or 40s.
Yeah.
but just to pass it over to you guys, because I know you guys gonna say a lot about the quarterback position, but just to pass it, is you see the similarities into it, but also you can see how one man literally can elevate, other players around him and do things that, usually seem to be insurmountable. But because we're in an NBA that don't reward, anything but championships, it usually gets overlooked. Like, no, these dudes are great. Like, if you see what they have done and what they do with the hand that they're dealt, it's incredible.
Yeah. Hey, you see Jeremy adjust his headset like he put it on his helmet? Go ahead, True.
Are you ready?
So, with that being said, look, Mo asks great questions. I've been over here prepping a little bit, cooking. So I just want y'all to know this is about to get a little emotional. With that being said, without further ado, we're gonna dive into these views. 94. That's a great presentation right there. That fadeaway was perfect, sir. Sir, perfect. With that being said, first things first, Mo, my guy.
What up? Let's talk.
What is your definition of a quarterback?
My definition of a quarterback. Well, I ain't Webster like you. So, but I'm gonna give you my definition. Number one, gotta be a leader. And you can't be coached that. You can't be taught that. It's either within you or it's not. Number two, you got to be able to pass the football. That's not even a joke. you got to be able to pass the football, and you got to be able to pass it well. Same way they were talking about having point guards who just find ways to get that ball, even if there's no space, see the passing lanes before they develop, all that stuff. That same thing is applicable to the quarterback position. So it's not about being accurate. It's about putting it where it needs to be. It's about throwing guys open. So I need somebody who when he says, hey, football, go there, it goes there 70%, 80% of the time. And the great ones, the elite of the elite, they even do that on a higher margin. Okay. So number leadership, accuracy, and number 3, I'm gonna just keep it real basic. And number 3, you gotta be able to check your emotions. You gotta know when to get high, when to get low. You gotta just stay cool. No matter what it is, you gotta stay calm under pressure. And I think the 2 greatest examples of that, ironically, are the 2 quarterbacks who have the most Super Bowl rings. Joe Montana has that great story of pointing out Uncle Buck. I don't remember his real name.
John Candy.
Yeah, John Candy. Yeah, he put him out in the stands. And then number 2, 12, Les, who is the standard of the quarterback position, and just 28-3, 24-0 versus Denver. I mean, you name it, his poise, his demeanor always stayed the same. So you got to be calm in chaos to when you're the general of really 53 men. That's as basic as I can say it.
Well, you said everything that needs to be said there. I'll add 2 things. The 2 other things that I look for in my quarterback is I look for consistency.
Mm-hmm.
That is the most important position on the football field that has to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
If the quarterback is not consistent, it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. If I can't consistently trust my quarterback to understand what's happening snap to snap, how a team is trying to attack us, then we may as well just go ahead and just get out of here today, because it just ain't gonna happen. But another thing, and you didn't say this one, but this is part of one of my scouting points as well: decision making.
Right.
If you can't make sound decisions, that is an issue. Decision making is very key in everything that we do in life and in basketball. If the point guard doesn't pass it to the guy that's open at coming off that curl and at the right time, at the right situation, the right motion, guess what happens? You get a ball, and guess what? We got to reset because the ball it's too late. So too late, behind you, in front of you, too much, all of that matters. So all of those things are tied into there. The quarterback should never be the best athlete on a football team. Let me start right there. With that being said, if the quarterback is your best athlete, we got other problems, because you don't pay your quarterback to be an athlete. You pay him to cerebrally take over the game and make sure that he always has the ability to bring the game back into whatever it is. After the defense comes off the field, after a bad possession, after a bad special teams play, whatever it may be, your quarterback is that guy that keeps composure at all times. So with that being said, Mo, my next thing I'm going to ask you.
Quick question before we do this.
Yes, sir.
Or just a quick statement, because I want to make sure that people don't get beside themselves with that statement, because I know how they can get with Germ. That doesn't mean that you're not an athlete at the quarterback. It just means you can't be the best athlete at quarterback. It's a big difference. Pat Mahomes is extremely athletic, but that boy Tyreek Hill, this is another level of athleticism we are speaking
Tyrann Mathieu, Tyreek Hill,
Travis
Frank Clark,
for that matter, got a little
Travis Kelce. That's a dancing bear. As in the words of Trav, that's a dancing bear. Now, with that being said, I want to make sure we highlight that, and just to bring this in a little bit more, athleticism is only a small part of what actual football even has to be talked about. We don't talk a lot about athleticism because all positions have athletes at them. Aaron Donald is a crazy athlete. Calvin Johnson was a crazy athlete. Who's 6'4", 6'5", running a 4.3 40, and then has a 40-inch vertical leap. Hey. That is equivalent to what? DK Metcalf.
I'm gonna give you one, Germ.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna give you one. Vince Wilfork. That's an athlete.
Yes, 350 plus pounds and can move like nobody's business. So Jonathan Ogden, left tackle, one of the best. When you talk about sinking your hips, dropping your butt, pause, and moving your feet, sliding side to side, Those are one of the best. Him and Orlando Pace. Shout out Ohio State. Big win yesterday. With that being said, yeah, you see how I did that, MJ? You like, yeah. But now I am really
Germ cutting off a little bit. Oh, there he is.
we get to talk about some key position things. First things first, if MJ alluded to this, if a quarterback cannot throw outside the numbers, that is an issue. That's equivalent to MJ to come off mute and tell us that's equivalent to what again for a basketball player?
That's equivalent to having a guard that cannot shoot, a point guard that can shoot.
Why is it important for a guard to be able to shoot, MJ?
Because he has to be able to keep the floor and the geography spaced.
Now,
if the defense don't have to guard every bit of the court, then the defense can be able to sag.
So if my quarterback can't throw outside the numbers, therefore metaphorically, the geography of the field is now thrown off because I don't have to defend every blade of grass. I got a whole 5 yards here going up vertically 100 yards I don't have to worry about, and a whole 5 yards over here vertically that I don't have to worry about. So now we got 40. Now we got 100 by 40 and not 100 by 50. And that makes a huge difference.
Right.
Chef, I'm gonna let you jump in because I want to pass the ball to you. Make sure that you hit you on that quick slant.
Well, let's put it outside. Let me catch it.
Yeah, no, all hands.
I got you. I got you. Well, I think when you talk about condensing the middle of the field, all of a sudden now you don't have to worry about certain concepts. Matter of fact, let me rephrase that. All of a sudden now you only got to worry about a limited amount of concepts from the defensive side of it. For a quarterback has got to be able to do whatever is required. Okay, you talk about with point guards knowing your personnel. It's the same thing with quarterbacks. You got to know who's who, who's where, and who can do what. Right? That's really what it comes down to. And I think I said this before, and I'm gonna say it again. The best quarterbacks, the elite quarterbacks, the offense is not built around them. The offense is built around the strengths of the personnel. Now, the quarterbacks that aren't very good, the offense is built around what they can do well. You know what I'm saying, MJ? You want me to say that again?
No, I already know,
Okay,
but
good.
repeat it for the others.
The best quarterbacks, the elite quarterbacks, the offense is built around the strength of his personnel. The mid-tier, below average quarterbacks, the offense is built as to what they can do well. Now, don't get me wrong. Either way, you're going to have things that favor this guy or favor that guy. You know what I mean? You still got to put in things that Mahomes does well. You still got to put in things that Brady does well. But at the same time, you can build 80% of your offense around what Tyreek Hill can do and around what Julian Edelman can do. That's really what it is. Those offenses were built off of speed, mismatch with the tight end, quickness, mismatch with the tight end, and then obviously you got running backs there who can do it on all three downs. So I'll just leave it right there for them, Germ. As far as you got to have a quarterback who, when you defend him, you got to defend everything. You got to prepare for everything. You got to know what this guy does well, because more than likely he's going to do it. I'm not worried about whether Marquise Brown can run a 15-yard comeback. I'm not worried about that. I don't even need to see if he's going to do that or not, because guess what? If he can do it, and if he does do it, they're only going to do it one time. So I'm not going to worry about that. I'm not going to spend my whole preparation, my whole game plan, my whole body language as a corner worrying about that. Nah. And we've seen it. We've seen it with guys, and this is not slander on Lamar, but this is just because you can't have Lamar be the blueprint of what we need at the quarterback position moving forward, i.e. Jalen Hurts. You need it to be Patrick Mahomes, Andrew Luck type. Go ahead, Jeremy.
So with those things being said, we got into those things about the more running quarterbacks and things of that nature. The place that you're protected the most as a quarterback is the pocket. Mm-hmm. So the game has to go from the inside out. For the shooter, the ball starts where? In your shooting pocket. And then where is it extended to? To whatever your shooting form is. Metaphorically, the same thing. If we don't start from that point, we don't get anywhere. So again, I need to be able to recognize that I have a 3-man pressure coming from my right side or my left side, so I can slide my protection or whatever it is the case that may be. Aaron Rodgers struggles with protection, which is why he almost gets killed a couple of times, in which I wish I could show you all some of the clips, but we're not here for that today. We're not, no slander on this mountain today. With that being said, what I want to talk about now really briefly is just to highlight this, zone defenses. Zone defenses are made for these type of things, for certain specific downs and distances and in situations. So if I have a quarterback that I'm playing against that I can cut the field off with those 10 yards, now that takes the cover 2 concept and it makes it even more potent, because now I can focus on the middle of the field and my linebacker doesn't have to worry about retreating this far over here, because I know that my safety doesn't have to worry about keeping this side of the field going past a certain distance in his peripheral, we'll call it. So Mo, this is
going to be a large preface of a statement for one point. So here's what I'll say, right? When Les was talking about action and how the NBA is basically all just about action. Well, the evolution of the game, the evolution of football impacted the quarterback position more than any other position, negatively, positively, whatever. That's not the point here. Just impacted them for this reason and this reason only. Any change that happens, any evolution that has to take place is going to all tie back or start with the quarterback position. So if they change something for corners, guess who's got to know that? The quarterback. Defensive tackle don't need to know nothing. Guard don't need to know nothing. Quarterback does. They change something for the defensive tackle, quarterback not worried about it. Wide receiver not worried about it. Quarterback worried about it. They change something for linebackers, for running backs. Guess what? Same thing. Quarterback got to worry about it. And so for the thing that I enjoyed most about, and now granted it was high school on a very small island, but the thing that I enjoyed about playing defensive line is because I could hear everything the quarterback is saying. And I'm like, damn, this dude he's pointing out my linebacker, he's pointing out the corner, he's talking about me, like, shut up, snap the ball. But really, it's really about just the chess match that takes place, and the quarterback is the pawn and the queen on every snap.
So metaphorically, the most important, most powerful piece, and the piece that does the little small things to help you conquer or bring back other pieces into the fold. So with that being said,
You remember in Bad Boys when they busted Johnny Tapia?
but with those things being said, that's what you get from that. So the zone defense concepts, we got our cover 3s, our cover 2s, and different things of that nature. Now we start to understand why certain defenses work against certain quarterbacks. Because the more you make them defend more space or certain spaces of the field, which are a lot more accessible to every quarterback, which is the middle of the field. Mm-hmm. Most defenses are designed to take away that. So then they got to the point where they said, hey, we no longer want to do that. We got our boxing ones. Remember the boxing one? We came back with the robber concept. Yep. Well, we're going to play man, and you got these crossing. Oh, you got speed. I got a safety I'm going to put right here. And he's going to wait for that man to cross. As soon as he get that ball, I'm blasting him like they did to Juju Smith. Like they did Juju Smith-Schuster, and they blast him out of the picture. That's a robber concept. Minkah Fitzpatrick, he plays a hell of a robber concept for the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. So those are the things that you get from those situations. So now we get to how the position has evolved from the 80s. We're going to go back to the 80s. Mm-hmm. We're going to go to a guy by the name of Dan Marino. He didn't win anything, but why is he so important in this quarterback conversation? Because he revolutionized and changed a lot of things that you can do as a quarterback. You can't tell, there's no throw he couldn't make. That's number one. Number two, he can play at any era. In this era, he would be good. In that era, he was good. He'd be good before him. That's the true understanding of a transcendent talent.
Yes.
Marino didn't have all of these great weapons and things that everybody else had and everything else. So as we go here to Exhibit A, Mr. Marino himself. we will highlight some things that Mr. Marino did very well.
Oh, Jerm, you ain't got to do this to them. I don't know if they're ready for all this.
Look,
Ooh,
Damn.
wait. Don't worry.
oh my God.
So now,
trouble with that joint. You know,
then I want you to see ball placement. Ball placement, right? You see that's right between the numbers. That's a quick route. You got a man trailing on the back end of you. Your receiver wins here. You got the quarterback putting it where it needs to be. I mean, these are things that you see. Look at the
Wow.
stepping into the throws. All of these different things. The pump fake.
The nice high
That ball
release.
is on a just. What else can you what do you ask for from guys like this? And as y'all see, I'm in my film mode because I can stop it. Putting the ball in the spot where his receiver can have a chance to make a play. There's a difference between accuracy. Mo, we talk about this every week.
Yep.
Accuracy and ball placement.
Yep.
The most accurate quarterbacks understand ball placement. The quarterbacks who don't understand accuracy, those are the ones who have the worst ball placement. Ball placement is about finding the spot for where the ball should be so the receiver can A, run after the catch, B, protect himself, or C, if you can't get it to the receiver, it's only the receiver making a spectacular catch or there will be no catch.
Mm-hmm.
And see, that's just like what Big Shot prefaced earlier about, passing to an open guy or passing the guy open, rather, putting him in that spot to where all he got to do is just turn and get to his spot or turn and score.
Mm-hmm.
No different here. It's like even on fast breaks, even when I used to run the break and I'm hitting cats in stride, saying no different than the cat running up the sideline, hit him in stride. All he got to do is catch it, 1, 2, lay it up.
Right. And that's a great point, Jay. And that's exactly where we try to
all
explain
places.
it to people. Yeah. Because if you pass it to somebody who's open on the wing beyond the arc, and you don't put it somewhere where he can just catch it and shoot it, well, guess what? In the NBA, a second is a long time.
Yeah,
Half a
exactly.
second is a long time. In the NFL, a quarter of a second is of a long time. So,
And for my analytics people, Rondo is a good example of this because last year when he played on the Lakers, they said 62% of Rondo's passes led to assist.
Led to assist.
wow, 62%.
62% of his passes led to.
Last days.
This
He
was
living
all
in the
playoffs.
last days.
That is remarkable.
That
I'm
was
telling
all
you,
playoffs,
living in the
man.
last days of seeing that kind of point guard
That's
play.
true.
I'm telling you.
Especially with being less, because being less grew up in that point guard era. Where it was like it was pass first, more or less. And so we thought in that way, we thought in that pass first format, but then we also knew how to score and make teams pay when needed, just based off of what we read.
Get that. Yep.
So, listen, not only is that an excellent point, Les, I'm going to let you get right back in after this, but I want you to understand this. A quarterback has to understand a cornerback's leverage. And why is this important? Because this tells you where you can throw the ball to place it to begin with. So right here, we see Dan right here. Fantastic Dan. We're going to call him Fantastic Dan for the rest of this clip right here. Mr. Fantastic Dan, you fantastic man. You see the leverage? The corner is already bailing here in this situation because he has lost at the line of scrimmage. So where would Dan be better off putting this ball?
Back
if
shoulder.
you put the ball on the back shoulder here, why put it on the back shoulder? Because that is where the receiver has the chance to make the adjustment where even if he doesn't catch the ball, the DB is in a trail situation. So he has to do what? Adjust to the player and then find the ball. When you see the back of a helmet, Mo, what do you do when you see the back of a helmet, Mr.
You better
Schefter?
throw that ball.
Okay, thank Mr. Schefter. What do we see right here? Exhibit A, the back of the goddamn helmet. Let's get it. You see, nice high point. There was nothing 26 could do in this situation. When he lost, Marino's job, his one job was to figure out who lost. That's the quarterback's job.
Right.
Figure out who lost. Figure out who's not playing correctly. So when you watch some of these other guys that we're going to show, a guy like Tom Brady will look at a guy's feet before a snap and say his leverage is wrong. That's who I'm throwing against.
Yep.
And that's what we get right there. So that's just Mr. Marino. Listen, Mr. Fantastic Dan in his own right. I'm telling you, that's a fantastic quarterback. Him not winning has more to do with other issues that we have problems with in football more than it does him. Because you still have to put talent on the field in order for it to be Rex's and Joe's versus
X's and O's. And he had no running game his whole career. Like, he never had a running game.
I can't name one running back that played with Dan Marino. Not one.
and that befuddles me.
And that was an era. And that was an era where you
had to run
a good run. You had to have a good running back.
Well, yeah, because you think
Roger
about
Craig.
it. You think about it. We had 1984 where he threw for 5,000 yards, and didn't see that again till 2011. That's insane. The man was 30 years ahead of his time.
And you said 30 years ahead of his time, but not only just that, it's a trend. Like, this is why we say a transcendent talent.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that he could not do at the quarterback position? Nothing. These guys, this dude was he could beat you with his mind. He could beat you with his arm. And the underrated thing about Dan, and we can all agree to this, Dan could actually move.
Yeah.
You see the hit that now the step that the quarterback takes up and he comes up, that's called a hitch step.
Yeah.
That hitch step was perfect to get right into it. It's no wasted motion. It's none of that extracurricular. So the next guy, we're gonna go to the standard. The standard of modern day quarterback. But go ahead, let's.
Can I add something real quick?
Absolutely.
I'm glad y'all mentioned the running game because John Elway and Dan Marino were on the same right there.
Yep.
They were right there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Then Mr. Terrell Davis
Mm-hmm.
made it to Denver,
Mm-hmm.
and Elway elevated. He's gonna. On some people all the time, you might have people that pick Elway over Marino because of those Super Bowl championships. But at the same time, though, Elway, when they got Terrell Davis, that's
absolutely
that was the separation right there. So
absolutely,
I wholeheartedly agree with the Rexes and the Joes.
Yeah.
And Les, you made up another excellent point. Terrell Davis was one of the last marquee running backs to actually win a Super Bowl and have a superstar quarterback, because a lot of these running backs that we have today, they don't have to be superstars. To Terrell Davis, and then after Terrell Davis, you have Marshall Faulk, which was in 99. But you notice 97, 98, 99, what do we have? That stretch of Terrell Davis and Marshall Faulk. I think everybody here on this panel, we didn't all talked about Marshall. Marshall's one of the greatest to do it. We'll cover running backs later. But now to the standard of modern day NFL quarterbacking, Mr. 12, Mr. I've been to more Super Bowls than everybody. We just gonna go on and lay it on thick like mayonnaise and just gonna call it a day. Yes, I said like mayonnaise. Don't worry about it. Think about it. Now, this is important stuff right here. This is old stuff. This is old. This is an old situation.
I remember this game. I actually remember this game. This is senior year, huh?
Uh-huh. Now, this is the same Tom Brady here. You know how they got Steel Brady. Now, these are things that we don't look at and look at as quarterback, as people who evaluate quarterbacks. We don't look at something like this and say, oh, that throw means something. Oh, that throw is this. Oh, that throw is that. And all these other things, or whatever the case is. So now we get to the stage now where we see all of these negative things that we have against them. There is
Look at the athleticism. Look at the athleticism.
There is nothing special about this. Do you realize, hey, I cannot even script this. I didn't even plan for all this to happen. There is nothing special about this player. There is nothing special about this dude. All right. There is nothing special physically at all about this guy.
Mo Lewis.
Shout out to Mo Lewis.
There it is.
There we go.
The tackle that changed the franchise history.
Shout out to
Change football.
Thank you. I said that. Hey, I said that earlier in the pre-show before you hopped on. I literally said one play, one injury can change the outlook of a franchise, a sport, everything. And that right there is that.
All right, now I didn't ask for the commercials. I'm going red next week. I can't take this.
I know what you're going to show. You about to show the go route fade to Gronk in the Super Bowl. Yup.
I want everybody to be able to understand what's going on right here. That's identifying a matchup. Let's start at the beginning again. Let's start here. I got my clicker right here. What is this Seattle defense known for?
Zone.
The cover 3.
Yup.
Which is a zone. And the primary, and Mr. Schefter, for the people out there who don't know what the cover 3 is supposed to design to help or to aid for the defense, would you please explain the cover 3 to the people?
Cover 3 is simply this. You want to keep everything in front of you, and you want to make sure that nothing can go vertical. You're going to be in a 3-man shell, meaning that your outside corner on both sides, your 2 outside corners, and you're going to have 1 single high safety in the middle of the field, and you're going to have 5 defenders underneath. So essentially, you want to keep everything in front of you, you want to flood the field, and you want nothing to go vertically. But this ain't that.
We get man coverage here.
Yup. You got one-on-one.
Quick question. Did Tom Brady look at the inside foot in the position and Albury be able to read it from that corner?
Of KJ Wright, the guy.
Yeah, because I know you. Yeah, because usually in cover 3, you're bust to the sideline, right?
Yes. If you see numbers, the number one rule of zone, ladies and gentlemen, if I see your jersey number and from the back, pause, that means it's a zone.
If you're watching the game, not if you're the quarterback. If you're watching the game.
Yes, if you're watching the game. So if I see him open with his hips like that, I know it's man coverage, baby. But let me tell you what else I see here. I see an imbalance. You see how see how this foot right here is not planted stably here on the ground? You don't have any leverage, son. All your weight is here. So all I got to do is all he's trying to do is stop him from getting here.
Right.
So you've already predetermined where I'm going with my route.
Well, here's the thing.
Or tried to.
Gronk got an option on this.
Correct.
But if you listen to the all the post-game interviews, everybody said it. Soon as they saw how KJ lined up, everybody knew what was going to happen.
And then this is what we get. And what more can you do on a throw like that?
Nothing.
There's nothing KJ could do. Go ahead, spike it, Gronk. I'm gonna let you spike it on camera. Now, with that being said, these are the type of things that we see from this player. And these are younger things of Brady. But again, look at the ball placement. Look at the ball placement. Look where the ball is. Where's the ball? It's outside where nobody else can get to it but the receiver. These are important things, important traits of a quarterback. You cannot teach these things that Tom Brady has. It's a mental thing. Mo, I know you can talk about Brady. Look, I'm gonna let you talk because Pat Mahomes was my pet project, and I got more to say about Pat than Brady.
Oh my God!
I'm tired of talking about Brady at this stage because it's just nothing. It's nothing, Drew. We don't need to see you anymore. We don't believe you. We need more people.
He's stupid.
We don't believe you. We need more people.
I mean, the crazy thing about it is you showed that one play, and in my mind I got like 35 timestamps of things that I can show on this dude, of his ball placement, of his IQ, of his just perfect mechanics. Honestly, like the mechanics are just so sound and so perfect. There's no wasted motion, whether he's throwing a slant, a go, a post, an out route, whatever he's throwing, it's going to be the same motion. And it's going to come with the same type of energy. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he's gotten to this point where he can make every throw look the same, no matter the difficulty of the throw, no matter what kind of energy needs to be behind that throw. Everything looks the same. That's the one thing. Number two, you talk about how he can identify matchups. Not only is he identifying matchups, he's identifying what that defender is trying to do to take away what he thinks is possibly coming. And that's why you see whenever he's the back of the helmet, he's throwing it, and he knows exactly where to throw it. The third thing he does absolutely exceptionally better than anybody in history is his ability to manipulate defenses with his eyes. His
Talk
ability,
talk that talk.
his ability to move a safety or a linebacker and say, hey, can you please go here so I can throw the ball right there? And he does that so well, so effectively over and over because it's just so subtle. It's okay, I'm gonna look here just to make you think I'm going there, but then I know in the back of my mind who's coming from my backside on the play, and I'm going right there.
Magic Johnson, transition, no look pass. Just think of it like that.
That's what I was looking at, just in that frame.
Now, I won't now see. Listen, when I tell you I didn't script this, I didn't plan any of this. This all happened pre-production of the show, and I'm talking about while we was recording. Right here, this drive right here personifies everything that being a quarterback is about. First thing, being able to move in the pocket. We just seen that he can't move. This is not an athlete.
And Madden was the one who suggested that they play for OT.
Yep.
Yes. And what do we get there? We get a guy who moves, takes the safe play, right? So then we come back to the very next play. We identify what's going on. We get a nice, quick, boom, right back to our running back again, right? Boom. We're already at midfield.
Now it's still 30.
J.R. Redmond, though. Jeez.
Yeah, I know. We ain't heard much about him since that day, huh?
Tough.
Now, 41 seconds. Oh, okay, we at the 30. I'm sorry, MJ. Sorry. But we getting ready to approach midfield here. Don't worry. I know what's getting ready to happen here. Again, outlet, get there. Boom.
Once again.
And then we get a first down. So now we are here again. So it's taking what the defense gives you. Don't say dink and dunk. Don't say dink and dunk like dink and dunk means or hurt somebody's feelings. That's called taking what they give you, Chief. If you're going to give me this 3-pointer, Germ going to dot your eye all night. That's just how it's going to happen.
Yes,
Death
sir.
by 1,000 cuts.
Hey, you got to give me the screen right here real quick. Whenever you done.
I'm done after I'm done with this.
And I'm
Now,
only
this
going to
play,
show one play, I
boom.
promise.
No, it's okay. This play right here, boom, and we get out of bounds. Now, why is this important? This play is going to be really, really important. This is not the clip. Did I get the clip that I need? Okay. In the actual game time, we seen an all-out blitz before that play right there to Troy Brown.
Mm-hmm.
In the all-out blitz situation, Brady reads the blitz and tries to get to the hot read. The hot read is not there. Brady rolls outside of the tackle box, throws the ball out of bounds. What does that do? That's down distance situation. That is something that will knock you completely out of field goal range because now you can't just get up here to this point so you can clunk it. Now you don't have 7 seconds to do this now. You don't give Vinatieri even a chance to even walk on the damn field. Down distance situation. All of that is important. And Mr. Brady executed at that level in that situation, even as a young player in his first action of that year, besides the action he had at the end of the year, obviously, when Drew got hurt. But do you understand the magnitude of the understanding of that situation? This is the Super Bowl, his first Super Bowl. So go ahead, Mo. You got the screen share is yours, my brother.
Okay, all right. Like I said, I lied to you. I'm gonna show you 2 plays real quick.
See, I know you got stamps.
Honestly, like I said, I ain't got no notes for this one, but I just know there's just 2 plays that really stand out for me when it comes to the excellence of the excellent man. So this is, again, 28-3 game. We talk about decision-making, being calm in chaos. This is 3rd down. 28-20. Look at where they are on the field. This is not no punky 3rd down. This ain't 3rd and 2. This is 3rd and 9 or 3rd and 12, I think it was.
3rd and 10.
Okay, 3rd and 10. There you go, Germ. See?
On their own 9-yard line.
Bro, just look at A, the mechanics with the footwork. B, how the ball begins to come out even before he gets to the last step of his drop. Simultaneously, when you see that, look at where Hogan is, and Hogan, for those trying to keep track at home, is right here. That's him. Don't worry about my drawing. I ain't Picasso. But the back simultaneously look at Hogan when Brady gets to the right before the last step of his drop, and then just look at the ball placement. See where Hogan is right there? He's starting to break.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can see it, but that ball is already at the release point. That ball is already at the release point, meaning that he started throwing it about 0.2, 0.3 seconds earlier.
And why did he have to do that, Mo?
Bro, this thing is not cooperating with me. I needed to slow down here. Now, ball placement. Yes, you need that ball outside of this inside defender, but at the same time, you don't want to get your receiver rocked. You don't want him to get a concussion. So what do?
Or you don't want to get a pick six.
Or you don't want to get a pick six. So you tell this ball, hey, when you get to the outside part, just stop and drop and let him roll. And that's exactly what ends up happening. Protects his receiver, takes away every angle the cornerback had, first down, and what happened after that was we have 12.
Very good.
Now, one more play, because I said I lied to you, and I don't even have this stamp. I just think this is where
and while you do that, I just want to throw in an entertainment factor. I know everybody knows who Hootie and the Blowfish is. They got this song and they say, "Time, why you punish me?" So on that play right there, he didn't have no time. He didn't have no time. So he had to make sure that time didn't punish him because his team needed him to allow himself to have the time stone in that situation to slow this tape down and to get the ball out to Mr. Hogan a little bit simultaneously before the break. So that's an anticipatory throw that we talk about that quarterbacks needs to be able to do in order for them to be elite status. So
y'all literally seeing live behind the scenes footage on how we break down film, how the views break down film. So they showing y'all the trade secrets right here. I need to really be tuned in because you ain't getting it like this anywhere else.
I don't know why the lab site is not available for this one, but that's okay. Because I'm gonna just give it to you real quick here. Go back. Boy, this thing is moving slow right now. Oh no, you're not letting me be great. Game Pass.
They ain't letting you be great.
They're not letting me be great right now.
They don't want you to see it.
They don't want me to see it. Hold on.
What's this?
It's fourth quarter Jacksonville championship round. I think there's like 6 minutes left to go. 2017.
Like the fact you remember that.
Right.
Do you know how many stamps you know how many stamps we go through a week? So just imagine how many stamps we go back and just watch for just nostalgic purposes.
All right. Cooperate with me here.
Keep going.
There
That's
it is,
right there.
2:56. I apologize. I was 4 minutes off. Okay, so Danny Amendola is in the slot. See that tight end going into motion? The player directly next to him is Danny Amendola. What needs to be kept an eye on here is this guy who is Miles Jack, who was playing sensational ball at the time. There's a snap, there's a play action, which initially gets him to pause. And then you're going to see it more from the red zone angle. But he ends up holding these two linebackers right there just enough to get that ball over to Amendola in the back of the end zone. When you see it from the red zone angle.
No, I see him in the back.
Look at where he's not throwing this ball here. But look at his eyes and look at how they react. Telvin Smith and Barry Church, look at how they react. And in the very end, he knows exactly where he wants to go. the entire time. Boom. And that's about the only place he could have put it. And that was about the only time he could have thrown it. You talk about calm in the chaos, patience, ability to manipulate defenses. I mean, you name it. Everything is
for the
displayed.
win too, huh? That was for the win.
Yup, that was eventually for the win. So that's it. Those two plays. I didn't mean for it to take up that much time.
It's okay because we got one more quarterback for him. Now, why this is big, shouts out to my guy Trav in the building. You know, my guy, Mr. Dancing Burr himself. He in the house. But with everything that's going on in the world, we got 12, right? That's what we got. But then after that, we get another dude and we get 15. So we add 3 to 12. We have 12. Now we got 15, man. We got 15. 15 defies the laws of gravity. Why? Because there are certain things you should not be able to do and then still be able to throw the ball 40 yards.
Yeah.
That's called being gifted.
Yes, it is. I don't know. I don't know if
Darko
Jeremy's
come
gonna
back
come
in a second.
back. Yeah, he's gonna come back in a second. But what he's
So,
gonna ultimately
what
there he
a
is.
more fun
There it
avenue,
is.
which is we're talking about go to the end. Are we here? We here? We good? We good?
Yeah, we got you now.
All right, right. Now we have right here. These are just some of the highlights from the Super Bowl. First thing, that's an RPO play. Now, most quarterbacks, when they do this, what do? It's
Run.
an RPO, and it's supposed to be the run. So now look at this. Look at this. This is congestion and commotion all over here from these guys. Look at how flat-footed this guy is, this guy, and these two guys right here. Look what Mahomes does. Find ourselves a receiver wide open. Right in between those two guys that's flat-footed. So the next thing we do, we come back to next play. Again, RPO.
He kicking in a little bit, but you can
Back
see
at it again?
Tyreek Hill got him. Yep.
What does this do? Keep your linebacker there. 1-on-1. Now again, MJ, if I know that I got Kevin Durant on my team,
I gotta give him
why
the
am
ball.
I and we got to get him the ball. And in one-on-one situations, who can guard Kevin Durant?
Nobody.
And one-on-one in the telephone booth, ain't many people checking Tyreek Hill. So I
No.
need to get him as many matchups as possible where he's one-on-one. But then, on top of that, now I got a dancing bear here, Mr. Travis Kelce. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Come back here, next play. Now we got the hard snap, the hard count. But hold on, we're gonna come back again because it's who, what, when, where, and why is he able to move like that? That's not fair. But you know what? That's come from ball placement accuracy. So now he's in the pocket and gets uncomfortable. He just takes off and runs. Boom. Okay. Well, hey, look, quarterbacks out at home. That's exhibit A. Slide, go out of bounds, do something. But you see, Jimmy Ward got hurt. Hard body. It's the Carter.
I mean, again, Mahomes is a dude who's just gonna break all these rules and get away with it. And the number one reason he can get away with it, don't forget it, accuracy from the pocket. Once you can do that, there's nothing. You can scheme how to stop the RPOs. You can scheme how to stop the read options. You gotta hope your players are ready to play for 60 minutes to stop somebody who is deadly from the pocket. There's no scheming to that.
I mean, what else could Baby Bosa do here?
Nothing.
He hit him.
That ball was actually that ball was actually a duck because he got there, but he didn't get there soon enough. That's why he jumped up and caught that ball like that.
That ball needed to be a duck, low key.
It did because if it had been straight, it would have been picked.
That's sick right there. I don't think people really caught the way you just did. Please rewind that one play right there.
Oh no, don't worry, MJ. I was
That's
gonna go back.
sick. That's sick. So, anytime you have a pocket in which you got your ends, and let's not get it twisted. The San Francisco 49ers play in their backfield all Super Bowl. They was in the backfield all Super Bowl. Any other quarterback, this is probably a sack or a throwaway.
Mhm.
The way this man is able to take these 2 steps to his right, go ahead. Plant. Oh, look at that's not even fair. This dude jumped through a bullet and hit him in the numbers.
And real quick, just to say this as well, the only other thing that Mahomes could have did here was step up. And by stepping up, he would have still had the same throw. But he just went because he's Patrick Mahomes and he does Patrick Mahomes things.
Right.
He does this. That defies the logic because Mo, what are we going to do? We're going to
breaking
step
the
up.
rules.
As a defense, I want to make the quarterback throw a ball like that. I want him to, and he hitting this man on a dime. Sheesh.
It's not much you can do. It's not much that you can do in these situations.
Yeah, I mean the thing again, Jerm.
Then you take something like this. Okay. That's an RPO. Again, we're shooting RPO. Go ahead, Mo. Go ahead.
No, I can't tell if it's me. Am I the only one that's having issues hearing him?
No, sometimes he freezes.
Okay. Yeah. So, go ahead, Jerm. Take it back.
Oh no. Well, all I'm trying to say is here in this situation is that there are a lot of things that teams conventionally run on Sundays, and every team runs pretty much the same things. But with the things that everybody runs, the difference in how the plays are executed is all about your personnel. And if you have a quarterback that executes at a high level consistently, then what do you get? You get wins. So this is why Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady, and Dan Marino are illustrations here. They do a hell of a job of executing whatever it is that is in front of them, like this play here. These are things where most quarterbacks would probably not step to the direction where Pat steps here. If you look at this here, Pat just goes ahead and runs outside and then does what?
Let the thing go.
Now, most quarterbacks would just run out of bounds because they don't want to be hit. Pat is like, look, I'm going to take a hit anyway, but we need to get some yards. So, Mo, I wanted you to get in. Go ahead and get in there because I know you had something you want to say.
Well, the only thing I'm gonna add is like again, he's breaking all these rules, but his ability to do the very basic things well in all aspects of the position is what allows him to continuously get away with it. And it's not a situation like Cam or Lamar or even a young Aaron when he faced his bump, when he hit his wall.
Like Curry to me.
Like when this dude hits his wall, whenever that is, they're still going to have to catch up to him. They're still trying to, because there's no defense to him. You just got to hope he's off.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Bro.
This is tough. And this throw right here, it's about to be this throw right here, boom. Again, what are his playmakers in a position to do? Catch the ball and make a move.
Mm-hmm.
That is important. That is the most important part of this whole process. There is nobody being scared.
What was the time of possession in this game for Kansas City?
The time of possession in this game was I can give you that in 1 second.
I think it was like 31.
It was almost even.
Okay.
And remember, this is against this is the top 5 defense in football.
All right.
This is not this ain't the Browns or nothing like that, Chief. This is the real deal Holyfield.
I know we talking about quarterbacks, but we know why they lost this damn game.
Well, we do because they
win the game, Trav.
Because this team
play to win the game.
Hey, we do know why they lost the game, but this throw right here, this is the throw right here.
Yes, that one right there.
What
was
that
like third and 15
third
or 17 or something like that?
Third and 15. Look at the pressure.
This is what I'm talking about. You're not supposed to drop back that much.
And
But
he
here- but-
underthrew,
and then still be able to throw it 40 yards.
That's the thing.
But here's
He
how it
underthrew
ties
it,
back
but it was at
into.
the right placement.
But here's how we tie this back into our conversation on point guards. We talked about Steph Curry shooting the ball from places you're not supposed to shoot it from.
Gotta honor that.
Pat Mahomes backing up too far,
Gotta honor that.
throwing the ball from a place you're not supposed to throw it from.
Patrick Mahomes have Super Tecmo Bowl philosophy.
Well, well, now that we know the Tecmo Bowl, shouts out to Tecmo Bowl. Now that we know that we got Tecmo Bowl in the house,
A man put up 3 touchdowns.
these are plays in which what do you do? What
Hope
What
he
do you
miss.
do?
You hope he miss.
That's all you can do. Look at this. This is after they get the ball
Ain't
back.
that right, Ham?
That's for sure. You pay.
And you
pay
know
your
what's funny?
tithes. You pay your tithes and say your prayers,
Yeah.
and you hope you miss.
Yeah.
And here's the funniest thing about this, as we see him at his best.
Look at John Lynch.
Hey, the funniest thing about this, as we see him
Oh,
at his
oh
best.
my God, that throw.
The
Hold on.
funniest thing is he still need the players to make the
Oh,
plays.
that throw.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Right.
Yes,
He's-
absolutely.
And that goes back to because we've been hearing some slander about Curry as of late. They thinking Curry fell off or whatever. It's like, no, he just don't have the players to make the plays for him. That's
Yeah.
all.
We're gonna talk about that though. We're gonna
Yeah,
get to that.
yeah.
We gonna get to
I
that
think the point
because I
guard
got some
quarterback.
stuff-
I'm sorry,
I got some
Trav.
stuff to say about that.
Yeah, I'm
because
sure you do.
Somebody need. All I'm gonna say is somebody need to mind their business because if somebody wasn't there for him, he wouldn't be getting the same looks as he do right now too. So
Yeah. I mean,
we ain't
I
gonna talk.
I think this point guard quarterback thing got to have a part 2 to it so we could dive into the layers of it, you know? Because look at John Lynch over there. He's like, man, I'm glad I'm not playing anymore.
And you know what John Lynch also was thinking? Sure wish I had one of them.
Yeah. Well,
Everybody needs some of them. Him.
Sure wish I had
Oh,
one of them.
man. We lucky Vic Jr. ain't on the line.
Absolutely.
No, and when we say this, we use these examples not to say that they the GOATs or anything like that, but these are just examples on how much the game has evolved, and they're the pillars of the forefathers.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
I mean, because we could look at Trae Young right now, who has his pieces, and if you blink twice, he looked like what Steph Curry looked like 6 years ago, because it's also about personnel and situation.
Mm-hmm.
So as we kind of so Germ and Mo, definitely that was beautiful
Man.
discussion. So you talk about the evolution, Marino to Brady to Mahomes. I think Mahomes is going to be the gold standard for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just kind of spin it forward. Who's behind Mahomes? I mean, Mahomes is still young, but is it Josh Allen? Is it
No.
Justin Herbert? Who is the next guy? We had this views from the 94 and 2026. We were like, yep.
It's
That's
your
a-
guy. It's your guy, Big Shot. Your guy may be next, depending on where he goes or who they put around him in Houston.
Yeah,
Number
the
four.
Deshaun.
Oh, yeah, he there. He right there for it. He right there to
Number
take
four,
it.
right there,
Yeah,
man.
Deshaun's gonna need a little more help. But
Yeah.
Deshaun is
I
Kyrie
think-
right now.
Yes.
I will throw my hands up. When they had that top 100 list, I was like, Josh Allen, why? Hey, spin this a year later. Hey,
He belong on there. He belong on there this year. He belong
Josh
on there.
has been. So Germ Mo,
Yeah, go ahead.
the next guy we gonna study is gonna be who?
Go ahead, Jeremy, because I got my own answer on this one.
Well, I'm gonna give you 3 guys besides Deshaun Watson. My first guy I'm gonna give you is Josh Allen. Josh Allen does deserve to be in this conversation.
I don't believe you.
Well, I mean, you don't have to believe me, but we need more people. If that being said, I got Josh Allen there. Another guy, I got Joe Burrow.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was the most ready prospect. I actually like him better than I like Andrew Luck. That's just me. Moving forward after Joe, it becomes a toss-up because it becomes kind of hard to really find guys that you can really, gravitate towards. But I'm gonna roll with Wentz still because I still feel like he has good football in him. I think it's Doug Peterson is the issue. I think Wentz, to go along with, as I said, Allen and Joe Burrow to go along with Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. I think that's the future of your quarterbacks for the next 10, 15 years. Those are my guys. So I'm going to let Chef go, and then we're going to get ready to wrap this up.
Hey, so here's what I'm going to say, right? To me, what separated Mahomes was the ability to pass from the pocket, right? To me, the only guys on that level the last 10 years is Carson Wentz, Andrew Luck, Joe Burrow, and I got one more, and we could run this back in about 6 years, and that's Arch Manning. Because that young man
He ready.
is coming.
He ready.
He is coming.
The Manning, the nephew?
Yeah, the nephew.
Cooper's
He is
kid.
coming. Yup. Because, hey, Arch made it. Peyton made it. Eli made it. The only one who didn't.
That's cool.
So it's only right his boy gets a shot at it. Yup.
Just don't go to Ole Miss, kid.
All the charges.
All the charges for that now, right? What the Saints, stay away from them because you beat the hell out of your granddaddy.
There you go.
Watch that young man end up go to Tennessee.
Watch him go to Belichick. That would be football poetic justice.
Hey, Bill will hang around for another 10, 12.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey, that type of player will make Bill put sleeves on. He that cold.
He that cold. That's cold-blooded, man.
That's a bar.
And all the pain and
That's a
suffering
bar
he
for sure.
did to Peyton, all the pain and suffering he did to Peyton Manning when he was at Indianapolis. And if that man was to get drafted by New England and Belichick is still there, just think of all the jokes and all that stuff that Peyton gonna go through. Cause he gotta go through the games.
Right.
He gotta go.
And it's funny because I instantly took it to professional wrestling with it because I'm watching the AEW product and I'm watching Cody Rhodes roll around with Arn Anderson. And it's like, yo, Arn used to beat the hell out of Dusty. Like every week, and vice versa. So it's kind of just one of those that you can put into play in that way. But like Trav said, it would be classic if he would end up in there with that.
And there you have it, folks. So we're going to cut this up into two nice slices for you. Where the point guards, how the quarterbacks. This has been awesome. We definitely going to have to do this again.
Definitely.
Views from the 94 feet of views, whatever you want to title it. Big Shot, Mo, MJ, Jam, Style Coach Les who joined us, Jay Ham, Trav in the building. Remember, subscribe, notifications on, follow everybody's Twitter.